You've reached your destination.
It is with the greatest contentment, dare I say, that I welcome my man of focused angularity, a wonderful human being of journalism who's going to guide us through the labyrinthine world of the stories that are in the Newry Reporter this morning. How are you, sir?
Not so bad.
Are you enjoying the tea I made you?
It was delicious.
Thank you.
It was delicious.
See?
But you look like a man who, on more than one occasion in his broadcasting career, may have jumped the shark.
I never knew of this. I've never known of this here at all, this phrase, jump the shark. I'm not sure what that means at all.
He didn't even know.
It's something to do with somebody
who
called
Richie
Fonz.
Cunningham was.
Now, who would I know Richie Cunningham? There's a Richie Cunningham used to live out in Killeavy Road. Is that the fellow?
Aye, that's the fellow. That's the fellow.
Is
him
Mr.
Him and the Fonz used to be real great mates.
Well, what about Thomas Cook? He loves you this morning. You drew something to his attention.
Well, Thomas...
He's the travel agent.
Motorists may have noticed, and this is over quite a large space. So there's signs on the way into Newry, on the Belfast Road. I believe there's also signs on the A2 route from Newry to Kilkeel around Warren Point. There's signs on the Campbell Road. There's signs in Carryduff, just outside Belfast.
Oh my God!
There's signs in Seaford, which would be along near Newcastle.
Yeah.
Between Newcastle and Belfast. Handwritten signs hung by an individual or individuals making
don't book with Thomas Cook.
A series of comments. Some of them are quite odd. Now, the one we took a photo of in Newry makes a reference to lose your luggage, jail and curse you. Now one of the ones in Belfast in Carryduff makes a reference to they give Stephen Nolan a free holiday. Of course, Stephen Nolan wouldn't quite be on a level of broadcasting excellence as yourself, Ron, but he's quite a well-known broadcaster.
Well, let me say one thing about Mr. Nolan. I would not wish to be involved in the kind of broadcasting that Mr. Nolan is involved in, bearing in mind
broadcasting.
Bearing in mind that I cover the worst of the troubles, and if popularity means getting excited and roaring and shouting and contribute to a dysfunctional Northern Ireland, I want nothing to do with it.
Well, that's neither here nor there in terms of Thomas Cook's story. And understandably, when contacted, Thomas Cook were less than impressed with the news that these signs had appeared.
How did you made the call to them?
We contacted them. At the time, they seemed to be actually unaware of the signage. Now, they've since said that they'll be contacting the relevant councils.
Yes.
So if you're talking some of the places in question, that would be already. Carryduff would be Castlereagh Council, Newry and Mourne Council, obviously. Seaford would be in Down District. So they may have to find themselves contacting an awful lot of councils to get the signs removed.
We also should say that there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever that Stephen Nolan ever did anything improper or took any largesse from anyone, because he's an independent broadcaster with a wonderful organisation. So we'll keep all of that right.
Absolutely. I mean, as they are, they're unfounded accusations, which is why Thomas Cook are so keen to have the matter dealt with.
Oh, yeah.
Front page of the paper this week. Businesses braced for a rates hike. There's been a revaluation of business rates, not domestic rates, so this isn't to do with your house, although there are fears that your domestic rates could rise as well. And
it's the sort of thing that Jack and Declan are paying on Hill Street and Mick of SuperValue. The business.
Well, the premises we're in right now could see a sizable increase in rates. Now, so Ryan Sands, he's been looking at what some of the potential increases could be and the reaction of the business community to them. And this is a serious impact. You think, that has no impact on me if you don't own a business. But that has a bearing on not only what price you'll pay in a premises, but whether some businesses in this city and further beyond are viable. Now, this all comes back again, I suppose, to people will be starting to think about domestic rates again. The new council will be starting their meetings to strike the new rate. And in relation to that, figures were released in the Assembly in the past week that would imply that the current debt of what will be the new council is £48 million. Now that could increase substantially when things such as the new leisure centre are added on. And also there's a number of other quite expensive projects. If you take, for example, 1.3 million is scheduled to be planned in Newry Town Hall. Down District Council, as it is, has a fairly sizable capital building programme. So when the two councils struck 0% rates last year, the front page of the Reporter warned that you could pay later.
Yes.
And we will find out in the coming months if that is the case. Something that is at risk, and this obviously has a impact on this, is the other lead on the front page.
Yes.
Which is that a number of sports schemes in the area could be at risk. And this follows on from a letter from Sports Minister Carol Cullen to new Council Chief Executive Liam Hanaway.
Yes.
And that is that the Council had written to the Sports Minister saying that they believe that Sport NI should fund any projects fully in the area. Now, traditionally the mechanism has been that Sport NI would be the largest funder, and then other organisations such as the council, such as sports clubs, would make a contribution towards the scheme.
Sport NI is not going to like that one little bit.
And Carol Cullen was quite robust in her response to the council, saying that this doesn't wash whatsoever. Now, to contextualise this, two projects that this could affect, just off the top of my head, and included in the article. One project, the 1.6 million project that was on the front page of the Reporter a number of months ago, relating to St Mark's in Warren Point, which was
that's the more involvement in the community and everybody comes in.
3G full-size football field to include Warren Point GA, Warren Point Soccer Club, and also to refit the sports hall to bring in other sports, and also what's known as the tennis court area at St Mark's. That would be at risk because it's looking £1 million of Sport NI funding, in addition to council money and money from the clubs and the school. Also, Newry High's sports development plans would be potentially at risk. They're also looking Sport NI lottery funding.
Okay, point well made. Take us on.
Issue.
Issue is right.
One thing we've mentioned on a number of occasions, and it's not quite gone to bed yet, is the chamber refurbishment. Right?
Why didn't they listen to us at the start?
Well,
we told them not to do it.
We pondered how much had been spent on this folly.
But it's a paltry. What is it? £1,500?
£1,500 is the amount paid out and fees to planners and quantity surveyors. Now, Jackie Patterson, the outgoing independent councillor who was opposed to this project from the start, is not satisfied with that answer. He said, when you consider the actual cost of council employees who worked on this project and the time they spent when they could have been doing something else, the actual figure to the ratepayer is a whole lot higher.
But professional people wouldn't get out of bed in the morning for £1,500.
Well, I suppose the ambiguity comes from the fact that a lot of these people are, the council workers are salaried.
Yes.
And from, it's more an opportunity cost in that they couldn't be doing something else if they were working on this project. And perhaps a more viable project could have been developed and delivered. It's a kind of the emperor's suit of clothes. Everyone thought it was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Did they?
And then somebody stood up like Jackie and said, "No, the emperor is naked.
There was 11.
No clothes."
If you recall, in May when it was voted through by Newry Mourne Council, it was by just 13 votes to 11 in the end. So there was quite a sizable number of councillors who did not like this project one little bit. And they came from broad swathes from right across the chamber.
But there was an irrationality, let me say. It seemed to me an irrationality about the desire to have it through. It just didn't add up. And to have 11 people who could say, yes, it's a good idea.
As it stands, obviously the incoming council, which takes full power in April, have to rubber stamp anything over £250,000. So as it was, really you required their say-so, and they're the ones who bend it. So perhaps before a penny was spent, it should have got the go-ahead from the Super Council.
You have a fine article today on the Salvation Army.
Well, I don't. The ever-sensitive Ryan Sands
well, it's the sort of thing he'll be very good at.
Well, last week...
You're all right for going over the top and across the barbed wire fields with the guns blazing. You know, you're very good at that. That focused angularity.
Well, we started the...
Have some pity for me to have
We started the series last week with feature on the Samaritans.
Yeah, but you were doing the main interviews until you did big interviews. You did the minister's installment. You did start the series running, did you not?
Well, that was the political series of interviews. We've now moved to community interviews based on some of the charitable organisations in the area that are making a difference to people. So we started last week with the Samaritans. This week is the Salvation Army. And what's quite a positive sign is after the first article last week with the Samaritans, we've already had other charities contact us looking to get involved.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, it's positive that they see an opportunity to get their message across.
Oh, yeah.
And the group this week getting their message across are the Salvation Army. So Ryan Sands has been speaking to John Parrott, Major John Parrott, in relation to just what makes the organisation tick, what they do, how you can help, and all matters.
They're a wee bit at the moment like the Catholic Church down in the south of, well, all over. There's Kieran O'Reilly was appointed the new bishop. He was the bishop of Killaloe until recently. And Killaloe. And he
do you know the song?
No, but the point I'm making to you is that he was surrounded by his parishioners. 5 old women, not one of them under 70. So this is the profile. Now, it's the same profile as the Salvation Army. They're having great difficulty getting younger people in and involving them.
Well,
but they're now in the vanguard of this Newry Nights thing
with
and doing very
projects such as that, and their new office on Margaret
down the middle.
Street.
Yeah, the hub there they're talking about.
They're really making a move to engage with the community.
Right, can I tell you you're into your last 5 minutes, dear boy?
Last 5 minutes. Well, this is the last news story I'll cover
Okay.
then. And it's everyone loves a good political spat. We've seen a few Gregory Campbell and Jerry Adams and comments such as that in the past week.
Villiers saying this morning that it's not going well. The talks.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
On the local scene, there's also been throwaway comments have led to a bit of controversy. And an allegation by Mayor Dara Hughes that SDLP councillor Declan McAteer at a recent staff and policy meeting referred to Newry Chamber of Commerce as head cases has hit the headlines. So Mayor Dara Hughes tweeted at SDLP Live, if you know your hashtags and your Twitter handles.
But he's the unelected mayor. He's the child who was not elected but ended up as mayor. So what's his authority to have a go at the Chamber of Trade, who've been doing so much for the town?
His authority is that he was there, he alleges he heard this, and from that point of view, it's incumbent on the paper to investigate a little further.
And so, did Dara say that?
Well, Dara Hughes tweeted, Councillor Declan McAteer could do with explaining why he called at Newry Chamber head cases at staff and policy meeting this afternoon. So when contacted by the reporter, Councillor McAteer said, I don't know anything about that at all. I can't remember saying that. Ryan, who wrote the story, also contacted other councillors who were at the meeting, one of which said that yes, indeed, he did make the comment. So it remains to be seen. Like the chamber was approached in relation to the remark, but the time to comment, they said that.
Like when Gregory Campbell, when Gregory Campbell was talking his rubbish, I made the point here that he was not that he was an imbecile, but that he was a political imbecile in coming out with language like that. That's justifiable. But to go, you can't just swathe and say he's an imbecile, or you can't say they're head cases. You need to give some evidence for it, surely. But anyway, he didn't do it.
It's got to be the one society in the world where you can get kudos for being an ignoramus.
Yeah, but, indeed. Now, you're taking me to
sport and really,
bye-bye Benny.
Bye-bye Benny. Many people hope that there'll be one more year left in the downgrade. And what is quite sad is that possibly one of the greatest players to ever lace on a pair of boots never picked up an Ulster winner, senior winners medal or an All-Ireland. Came extremely close in 2010. It all started so very brightly in 1999 when he won the All-Ireland minor title, and it looked like a glorious career would be ahead.
Yes.
Now, he did pick up an All-Star as well in 2010, but as the headline says, irreplaceable. Benny Coulter was a phenomenon in a down shirt, and everyone is very sad to see him go, including Stevie McDonald, the Armagh great, who's a very good friend of Benny. So he's been speaking, as has Michael Walsh, former teammate and current Mayo Bridge manager, in relation to the impact Coulter has had both on club and county scene over the last number of years. Now, couple that with the fact that Stevie McDonald, who had hung up his boots, has also announced that he is going to restart his club career. He's not going to return to the Orange.
What age is he now?
But he's 35 years old.
He would be far better off joining the U3A or something. They should have a Gaelic team, maybe.
If a member of the U3A can score 2-8 in a game, then
it'll be all right.
Then it'll be all right.
Yeah.
But CB McDonald's back to ravaged defences in the Ireland.
The ravaged defences, I can see it. You paint a beautiful word picture there.
Yes. One other thing we have on the back page is we've been trying to raise the consciousness in relation to this. There's obviously been a number of incidents where cyclists and runners have been involved in traffic accidents in the dark. So we're trying to, we have a campaign on the back page in relation to be seen or not to be seen.
Yeah.
So we've taken a photo of someone wearing the correct gear at night and they're very visible, and someone wearing the wrong gear at night and they can barely be seen.
Okay.
So reflect on it, be safe, be seen if you're out running or cycling in the evening. One final story, and this is a local story from both ends of the spectrum. Mark Haughey has returned to Warren Point again, playing for Linfield to dash local hopes. Of course, Mark Haughey from Newry.
They did very well against Linfield, just beaten by one.
But for the second game in succession, Mark Haughey has overturned Warren Point.
Was he the goal scorer?
He was the goal scorer again against Warren Point. So Warren Point looked on the verge of a memorable result against Linfield, as they did last season, only for Haughey to pop up and head home in the 89th minute for a winner for the South Belfast side. So that's the second time in 2 years Mark Haughey has done that to Warren Point. I think he scored the winner against Warren Point a third time as well. I'm not 100%
Thank you very much indeed. I shan't shake your hand today because of my cold, and I wish you well, and we'll see you next week.
I just hope you're all right for the 24th, because there's going to be an awful lot of people relying on you.
No, I'm just an assistant.
Assistant?
Just an advisor in that matter, but it'll be okay. All will be good. All will be good. You have a good day. Have you a busy week ahead of you?
Busy enough, Rowan.
Yeah.
Busy enough.
When does the week start? Your paper's out today. When do you start sort of putting the
15
shoulder?
minutes.
Really?
About 15 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's good.
Got to get the creative juices flowing, Rowan.
Well, no bother to you. Thank you for coming in. We'll see you next week.
No, you won't.
Oh, not
I'm
next
not here
week.
next week. The week after.
We have to cultivate. That young fellow Sands is a nice fellow.
He lacks focus angularity, but he does have sensitivity, Rowan.
Sorry. Go well. Take care. All the best to you. That's Cormac Campbell of the Newry Reporter, and you're with Destination Newry. Coming very, very shortly, Anne Smith and John McArdle. Lectio Divina. Now, we'll find out what all that's about. It's a form of worship, I think, based on the scriptures of Christianity. We shall be finding out presently.
Destination Newry.